We are back with the 149th edition of the Quarantinecast. I'm really excited for this one. Joining me today is the brother of a fellow UFC fighter and also the cousin of PFL tournament winner Ray Cooper. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce him. Here's Tristin Kamaka. Hey man, how you doing?
Man? Good. Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
No, thanks for coming on, man. It means a lot. I know. Kai reached out to me a little while ago, told me about you, told me you've got your big fight coming up. I want to talk a little bit about that fight. How important is this to you? I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a while. I'm excited to get started my own career, seeing a lot of family success, and we just all want to see everybody succeed in their own way and their own path. And it's been a while and it's exciting. I just can't wait to get back in home, back in that cage and lock the door.
Man, it's the world right now is at a weird time with the pandemic and everything going on. I want to talk a little bit about that because where have you been? What have you been doing? Were you in Hawaii? Are you in Vegas? And are you back and forth? Where have you been throughout most of this pandemic?
Pandemic-wise, I've been going back and forth. I've been here late December to mid-January. Flew back home, spent some time with the family. I came back to Vegas to train with possible fights lined up in the beginning of March. And here we are today, beginning of April. And just ready to get started. I mean, the pandemic really screwed things up, not just for me, for the whole world, but you got to roll with how the life goes and take it head on.
Yeah, I mean, you're a little bit different than most because, I mean, most don't have family members involved in the sport. You were, everyone essentially fights. How important has it been to be around guys like your cousin Ray and Kai throughout this entire thing?
I wouldn't necessarily say important. I was actually more blessed, to see what it takes to take it to the next level, what it takes to have a successful career in different organizations and how to go about mindset-wise, training, eating, sleeping. So I was more blessed to see and have it firsthand experience of what it takes on a big show level. So it wasn't necessarily important. I took it as a blessing to be around that, and it is important. It is important to take it to the next level.
You mean most guys when they go pro, they start off in local organizations. These organizations no one's heard of, whether it be in Hawaii or locally in California. You went straight to LFA. What went behind that decision to be like, you know what, this is the biggest organization that I could sign with right now? What was the decision to go with LFA?
So part of the local shows, I've been doing that since I was a young kid. Before growing up in the Super Brawl back in Hawaii, guys of Rob Lawler coming to Hawaii fighting in those. So that was something that I went through my whole life. Signing with LFA was more of a blessing that we were just trying to take anything that comes. So like you go back to the pandemic, it's hard right now for just promoters to even put on the show. And we were just lucky enough that LFA reached out to us like, hey man, we're actually reaching out to anybody. We just want to compete. We're not trying to call anybody out. We just want to compete. And we were just lucky enough that LFA contacted me and my team, and that's how that rolled. And we're just blessed to have that they came aboard with us and trying to fulfill that. We just want to be around the sport, compete. That's all.
I want to talk a little bit about that because your fight's coming up here. It's later this month. How are you feeling with the pandemic and a lot of not ideal training? How are you feeling just a few weeks out?
I feel good. Like I made a transition from home to Vegas. Believe it or not, nothing was wrong at home. I love the family, love the training, my people back home. It was being in Vegas made it more accessible to what we're trying to accomplish. Like it goes back to the pandemic again. It's harder for promoters to get a guy from Hawaii to their show. And we just believe that going to these shows is more easier, travel, training-wise from Vegas. Nothing was wrong at home, training-wise, family-wise. It's more easier to get out from Vegas.
And it really seems like Vegas is just another Hawaiian island at this point. Like Brad, Kai, there's so many guys from Hawaii there in Vegas.
The first day I left home and I walked into the gym in Vegas, it's like all the guys that you know from back home, we just transition here, and it just makes it easier transition. Like sparring partners, like helping each other on a certain technique. It just made it easier, and just the language, the culture makes it easier that when we go to with other guys, you feel more comfortable then. So it is another island for us, and just it's lucky for us.
I want to talk about the balance because for the past few years you've been focused on school and football. Mm-hmm. What's it been like balancing, high level football with MMA training?
So I started my football career at NAIA school. Coaches back then did not know that I would leave for the weekend and fight. So that I did a couple of those, but as you move up in level of play and division, you're not able to do that. You got to focus your time, effort, all in your craft at that time. And when I moved to a Division I school, that's what happened. I had to focus on that, and it was an opportunity of a lifetime. Not many people get to play college football, and being from Hawaii, when you grow up going to the University of Hawaii football game, it's big time growing up at that time. Yeah. So it was a dream come true for myself as far as athletically for my football career, and it's something I had to roll with and take the opportunity. And now that opportunity was seized, we're here now trying to make the most of the next opportunity of career choice and trying to make the best of it.
What was the? Obviously you've been fighting your whole career, but when you look at football and now transitioning to becoming a full-time mixed martial artist, what's the hardest thing to transition from one to the other?
I guess easy. I think conditioning and everything. Every fighter would say conditioning is different in every sport, and it's not. And fighting conditioning is something that you have to prepare for. It's not like you can play football your whole life and then your first fight and not have to train for it. That is something that I think has to be worked for. It's not just something that can be in you. And it's proven with fights. Each fight is proven who did their work. And sometimes it makes or breaks fights. That's all. I think that's the biggest transition conditioning wise. You can never be out of control. I would not say you can never think you're prepared to be conditioned coming from a different sport. You think in the wrong mindset.
Yeah. Eric Nixon also has a football background. Was that mm-hmm. key? Was that key when you went there? Like being able to have someone who's kind of went through the same thing. Obviously he's never fought, but he trains, and he also competed as a football player. Was that part of your decision to go there as well?
That's part of it. He's a coach that you're easy to conversate with. Easy, we actually didn't even start off talking about fighting when I first walked. We talked about, hey, when are we gonna get together and throw a football? And he'll say that too. He's like, hey man, the first thing he said was, hey man, when are we gonna spin it? And in my head, I'm thinking, spin it, like aren't you an MMA coach? And when we talk more, we talk about throwing a football. He had that football background. To me, he got a football body as far as like a defensive body. So he's very, when you come from a different sport, you're able to talk about different things and not just have MMA on your mind 24/7. So yeah, he definitely made it easier because when you come from that background like football, there's things you talk about like games. Hey man, hey, do you know this guy? Do you know this guy? And it just rolls down and just makes it easier to conversate, gel together.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's one of the best coaches in the game, and not just coaches. I think he's just such a nice human being.
Oh, great guy, yeah.
Yeah, all in all. And I'm glad that that's where you ended up because I think that's probably, in my opinion, the best gym right now is Extreme Couture. I want to talk about your brother as well as your cousin because they have fights coming up too. Mm-hmm. And it really is a family business for you guys. How important is it, not just for you to succeed, because I know your fight's important, but Kai and Ray as well. Do you feel like if one of them lose or one of you guys lose, it feels like a loss regardless?
We definitely feed off each other. If one loses, one feels more, not more pressure, but like I would say mad, but in a sense like we feel like we let somebody down and say, I got you, you know, I'm gonna get this one. And the same thing as a win. Like, yes, that's my family, you know, my turn. Let's go get this one. So it's the family business. It's weird, like, you know, it's not many. You have brothers in the sport, you have cousins, but this is brothers and cousins, everybody, aunties, uncles, dads, you know, brothers. So it's unique in a way, and we feed off each other. Win or lose, you're gonna get the best of us in a way that it's gonna feed off the next person, and you might, in a way, feel bad for the next person because like he's coming off a high, just watching it because he's probably shadow boxing while he's watching mine. I'm gonna be shadow boxing while I'm watching his type of thing. So it's unique.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a while since we've seen you competitively. What can people expect from you who maybe haven't seen your prior fights?
The elevation of my game. I was young back then, definitely. At that time, at this time of growing now, I try different things. What really fits? What's making me better? My style. And back then, I didn't want to try different things. Like I felt like, oh, this is my thing. I'm gonna try and kill guys, and I gotta be more methodical now and get things, be more patient, things like that. Give different looks. It's not necessarily in that fight. It's for the future fight. You know, who's watching, who's next, type of thing.
What is the ultimate goal? I mean, you see your you see your family going in different directions. You know, one's in PFL, one's in UFC. Do you feel like you got to go dominate Bellator, or does it really matter to you? Do you just kind of want to see where this road takes you?
Cause it doesn't really matter to me. You know, at the end of the day, wherever it takes me, it takes me. But I just want to be the best athlete, mixed martial artist that I can be myself. Now, it may take me to the biggest show possible, but I'll live with it because I lived up to my best potential, and I can live with that. And if it takes me to a big place, I'm gonna roll with it, seize the opportunity, and go from there and be happy. But there's no end big show. You know, I just want to be the best, reach my potential as a mixed martial artist, and display that to the world. Be able to perform, compete, is what makes me happy.
I wanted to ask one last question. As a fan of the sport, the one thing I noticed about all Hawaiian fighters is their toughness. Where does that come from? As someone from the outside who's like, why are they all tough? Like, yeah, I mean, I can't think of one that isn't. You know, whether it's Yancy Medeiros, Max Holloway, Brad Tavares, Kai, you guys are all tough. Where does that come from?
I think just growing up in that state, you know, that's in some parts that's fighting on the street is playing. That's our way of passing time, like sparring. Like, oh, got nothing to do with a spar, and it may not be in the gym. It might just be outside, barefoot, no shirt, you know, slap boxing. Like, you know, it's just like it is something that's in us that we will go down swinging, go down trying, and growing up from there, that's just something that's in you. Like, you can't even describe it. Like, oh, I'm gonna get this one. Like, even if we lose or we can go down swinging. It's gonna be hard. Like, you may have got this one, but we'll come back harder, better. It's just that mindset that you grew up with living there.
I love that. I mean, I'm from Canada, so we don't really have that here. We have guys who fight, but most of us don't. We just kind of like sit back and like, all right, I don't want to get involved in that fight. But it's crazy because, I mean, Kai said the exact same thing, and same with Ray. They're like, this is what we do. Like, this is fun for us, whether it's a random guy or a cousin. It doesn't matter. We're fighting. And it's so weird to me.
This is just what we do. Like, this is what we love it. I mean, the Hawaiians grew up fighting for their land, and to us, this fighting is our joy, for our pride, and, you know, for our family. Like, we not necessarily want to make our name fighting, but this is just what we love to do. We just love to fight.
I love that. It's so weird to me still, but I love that. Is there anyone you want to thank or social media that you'd like to plug before we end it?
I just keep it simple. My family. You know, there's so many people to name, but once I say family, they know who they are, and I just can't thank them enough because it's been a long journey for both me and them, and it's gonna at some point it's gonna pay off, and just want to thank them for sticking along for the ride.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for the time. I really appreciate it, and best of luck, man. As always, for you, Kai, Ray. I've known Kai and Ray for a little while now, and I always support. I feel like part of me is Hawaiian. I've interviewed all you guys, so I appreciate it that you took the time to jump on.
Thank you.
All right, man. Best of luck and stay safe.
Thank you. You too.
All right, there you have it, Tristin Kamaka. Be sure to check out his fight on LFA. I think it's LFA 104, but he's an exciting fighter. And if you've watched Ray Cooper fight or you've watched Kai Kamaka fight, he's just another version, and it's going to be great. And I can't wait to watch his debut. If you guys haven't yet, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.